Welcome to the Dad and Sons Dadcast, your number one source for bidet impressions and escape room reviews that are somehow going to be crammed into a video game podcast-themed podcast. My name is George Weedman, and I have my lovely assistants, Matt Visual.
Hey.
And Liam Edwards.
Hey. Whoop, whoop.
How are you two? This weird morning, afternoon thing.
I don't know. I went to Vegas again.
You're just using that California excuse like a lot, aren't you, Matt?
It's like one of the things people do here, other than go to Disney World all the time.
Oh, so it's like a beach.
Yeah, it's like, oh, it's not just a beach. It's like, oh, I could go beaching, if that's a thing. I go beaching, snowboarding, snowboarding at Big Bear, or trampolining in a trampoline park, or it's anything. Let's go to Vegas. So many things to do. So, and Vegas is only three hours away.
So what's wrong with taking the back streets?
And to be honest, I don't get it. I don't get it anymore.
But you just went twice.
Yeah, but I don't get it. Like, now you're there.
Were you gambling again?
No, I don't. I like my money where it is.
No wonder you don't get it. I have some news for you.
Oh, I have to waste my money in order to get it?
I mean, don't you have to waste your money to enjoy anything in this existence of ours?
Ooh, boy, you're going deep. I need some weed for that.
But to get that, you need money.
I mean, to be fair, since we last recorded, I feel like I have aged like 10 years. So
You've moved.
The stress. A couple gray hairs growing in?
Maybe. I dare not look in the mirror for the eye bags of which have formed under my eyelids.
I think by 2020, I'll have a full beard of gray. It's getting there.
To be fair, that's rather sexy, though.
Salt and pepper beard. I can't wait for that.
Yeah.
Salt and pepper beard by 30.
Anyways, Liam, you've changed abodes.
That's true.
You're now living as Miyamoto lived.
I'm coming to you live from the home of Miyamoto in Kyoto, Japan. He lives around here somewhere.
Somewhere out there in the forests, in a cave.
But now I live in Kyoto for undisclosed reasons at this moment in time. But I'm here.
So what's that like? You said you had to change your visa.
Oh God, I had to do everything.
Yeah, what all does it entail? Just telling the government that like you're not teaching English at this place anymore?
Well, it's a process. I don't know if you've moved in a foreign country before, but it sucks.
I have not.
I've done it 4 times now. This is my 4th time, but this was my most major one so far because it was not within the confounds of safety of the company I used to do some work for. So they couldn't just handle everything for me, and I just scuttled over to another place. So I had to do the majority of the legwork myself in terms of like changing over. Now, in the UK, and it's probably the same in America as well, is when you just want to move, you just move. Like, you just move to a new house, right? You, like, pay off your utilities and your internet or whatever, and then you just rock up at your new place.
Hey, Liam. In America, though, if you move to a different state, there's a lot of new paperwork involving proving your residency when you set up your new utilities, and there's different taxes in different states. It's that thing.
Okay,
it's
yeah.
that thing.
Now, you see, in the UK, we don't have any of that. We don't have any of that bullshit. You may have to sign up for your city, your council tax, but for the most part, that's automated because your postal address becomes registered to your name. So there's none of that bullshit. But you see, Japan is very similar to like moving states. It doesn't matter if you move internally inside of like a prefecture, but like I've moved to a different prefecture. Like, you know, I've moved like 4 hours away from where I used to live, obviously to Kyoto. And the thing about moving is when you move, you have to go to the city office of where you live, and you have to get like 5 different documents, one for your postal address, one for your tax, one for your health insurance, one for your pension.
Whoa, your pension.
One to declare that you are leaving this prefecture. And then you have to get all of those documents before you move to your next prefecture, because then when you go to that prefecture, as soon as you've moved in, you have 14 days to register as a resident. Otherwise, you get fined like $5,000. So then I shuffled on over to the Kyoto city office, and then I have to go to there, and then I have to do it all over again, but in reverse. So instead of like canceling my tax and health insurance in one place, it's setting it up for here and in another place, and it's all in Japanese, and it all requires insane amounts of proof that I am me. And then
sounds like fun. All of this.
It is delightful. I spent one afternoon in Okayama getting all these documents where I just basically read through an entire book because it takes so fucking long.
And
wow.
Do you have to show up to all these offices in person?
Yeah.
Oh.
And it has to be you, and you have to have your passport, and you have to have your Zyren card, which is your alien registration to live in Japan.
Are you official now?
Well, I'm official in my living status, but I'm still my visa status change because I have to get a new visa with my status change on it. So I'm changing over from one status because you can't work. Japan works in a weird way where your visa is tied to your job, and then your status is based on whatever your job is. And it fits into different categories, and you're allowed to do different work under certain categories. So I'm changing from one category to another. I can't legally start what I'm going to do in the future until I get my visa status changed. So I'm kind of just waiting over here, waiting for that to change, waiting for Resident Evil 2 to come out, and kind of just walking around Kyoto and all that kind of stuff.
Exploring, relaxing.
But it's nice because I pretty much live in central Kyoto. I live probably as convenient as you can get in a good location in Kyoto. Like, it's a 10-minute walk from everything everyone wants to visit here.
Ooh.
So it's been pretty sweet.
Like the Gion district?
Yeah, literally 10 minutes from everything. Kawaramachi, Teramachi, the Imperial Palace Gardens. I live in Karasuma, which is like just central north. Everything is really convenient. Yeah. Do you guys want to hear a crazy Japan story before we get into video games?
Sure.
This might be just the first of several because I am interested. You got to keep us updated for what it's like during the summer out there. Because the crowds are supposed to get stupid crazy.
Yeah, no, I'm going to be crying because Kyoto sucks in the summer. It sucks in the winter if you hate the cold because it's very fucking cold here. But in the summer...
What's cold to you?
That's the thing, is I'm from the UK, so cold to me is like a negotiable -1 area to like between 5 to -5 swing.
So that would be like...
and Kyoto is cold. Kyoto's
28
like
to 30.
Kyoto's like 0 at night.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Oh no.
But in the day it's like a, you know, if you got gloves on, you're fine. It can be a bit bitterly cold, but
we're from hot places. When I was in
whereas
Hokkaido,
in the summer, Japan, like in the summer, Kyoto is so hot and humid, it's unbearable. Combine that with the fact that thousands and thousands and thousands of people descend upon Kyoto like some sort of hornet's nest.
I don't know what you would look like in this weather, but I'm sure that me and Matt would have to bundle up just to like sleep in our beds at night.
Yeah, I got into my bed last night and it was pretty cold, but I'm slightly hungover, so I was.
So you just froze to death almost. You almost froze.
No, I was kept warm by the alcohol running through my system.
Is that the story?
But yeah, so. I got a crazy Japan story.
Let's hear it.
Yeah.
So basically, I lived the life of a Yakuza for one night.
Did you play baseball?
Were people trying to beat you up in the streets with every, like, goddamn 10 steps?
No, but like... so you both played the Yakuza games, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The Ryugai Gotoku... Gotoku? I forget what it's called. The Way of the Dragon.
Good attempt.
Yeah.
Ryuga Gotoku. So you know, like the running a hostess bar mini games.
Yes. All too familiar.
So
you mean the regular game,
the one where you can win a chicken in Yakuza 0 based on like
Jesus.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So you know where this is going. You know where this train is a rolling.
Okay.
So I had like a...
Get ready to cut, George. Get ready to cut.
I'm typing it down.
Get ready to cut all 40 minutes of this out now. For names will be changed.
You're hanging out with David Cage. Okay. At the
David
hostess
Cage.
bar.
David Cage, that renowned worldly Yakuza. David Cage is definitely the kind of David Cage is definitely the kind of guy who would stop you in the street for a fight.
I'm a little worried about implying more about potentially illegal things David Cage might be up to, considering there's like a lawsuit going on and stuff.
I mean, but it's all him under fire. He doesn't care about some podcast with 3 dweebs on it insulting him. He's like, I'm an auteur. I don't care.
I am surprised that Randy Pitchford seemingly does it, because I have had friends who are like random nobodies on Twitter who have been invited to like defend their honor on his podcast for getting in Twitter arguments with Randy Pitchford. Anyways.
Oh man, the day you guest on Randy Pitchford's podcast will be the greatest day of our lives.
I already decided that if he reaches out, I'm just not going to respond.
No, you have to say yes.
No,
You have to say yes.
You have to say yes.
Yeah.
Why do I
There
have
is
to
no
say yes?
other option.
And
Oh my
make sure
God.
you keep your original recording and
Yeah,
everything.
We were talking about your mistakes.
Oh, okay, yes, my mistakes. My mistakes comes in the form of having a party, not a party, like a dinner to celebrate me leaving the place I was leaving. Basically, you know, a farewell
The
party.
going away party, yeah.
Yeah, going away party, like with my friends back in Okayama. And that
Those
kind
are
of thing.
normal.
So the idea was to go to an izakaya, which is like a Japanese bar. In fact, we went to the very same izakaya I took George to when George was here.
The one with the cow piss.
The one with the cow piss
what?
and the chicken wings and all that place. The really good food
Cow
place.
piss?
Cow piss.
It's
You can
a whole
order
big
that?
thing. Any
No, it's a milk soda in Japan. It's literally called cow piss.
and
A
we couldn't
milk
stop
soda.
giggling.
Okay.
Yeah, George was
Continue.
ordering alcoholic milk sodas.
Yeah, you can continue. Don't need to know more about that.
They're good. They're like cream soda taken to its logical conclusion. Anyways,
To be fair to
Cream.
George, he was ordering.
We'll mention
like-
cream and piss at the same time.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. Let's not touch that. Let's get onto some other cream and piss.
Go on to Tenga eggs.
Oh my god, we're getting there.
Yeah, we're getting there. Go ahead.
So I had this, you know, it was a fairly standard. Now, I won't mention his name or who he is, but we have a friend, and our friend he's a nice guy, but he's quite strange.
Made
And-
a lot of good games, I'm
hope he's not
assuming.
listening.
No, he doesn't work in the games industry. He is Japanese, but he grew up in America, and I feel like back in America he used to do some illicit stuff, maybe some stuff that made him quite a bit of money. And,
But
and then
illicit.
recently, I think he inherited a lot of money as well. So the background about this guy is that he has a lot of money.
Sure. He
Okay.
inherited it.
Well, the less said about that, the better, I think, because I'm not particularly sure of how. But anyway, safe to be said, he's a nice guy, but he has a lot of money. And because of that, and he is very disinterested in saving it. He likes to spend this money. So he likes to drop many thousands of dollars on just one night. And he does
How
it.
do you
my
even
butt
do
hurt.
that?
Yeah, it's a world I could never ever truly experience. But this one particular night, he came along. He was invited by another friend, and he came along. And I had no problem with him being there. He's a lovely guy to talk to, and but this is how the night started out. He turned up with a $600 bottle of Cristal champagne.
That's so much tastier than the $60 bottle.
I just have never
How much? Say
quantified
that number again.
$600 bottle of champagne.
I just want to make sure the listeners heard
NVIDIA
that.
GTX Sizzle Master.
This is like
Titan XD.
this is the realms of like rappers splashing their cash in a music video champagne.
So yeah.
Anyway, that tasted disgusting, but it was in a fancy golden box, and it even had a book with it that explained to you why it was so fancy. So that was interesting. I was very appreciative of him doing it, but I was wildly uncomfortable.
Yeah, as I recall, I've done some reading on like these really stupidly expensive novelty foods, and most of the time the bulk of your money actually goes to like a charitable cause that the company's linked to, rather than the actual like food itself actually being worth $600 of value that you literally guzzle down.
I think your palate is not quite complex as
I don't
everyone
think so.
else's.
I think my taste buds are used to.
You're supposed to, swash it around in your mouth for a little bit,
Did you give it a good
make the
sniff?
flavors just get soaked into your tongue, and then you swallow.
My taste buds are used to 600 yen beer, not $600 champagne. But anyway, that's how the night started.
$600.
I know, right?
That's food for a month.
It's not even fucking food for a month. It's like fucking like my rent.
Yeah, but I'm sure that somewhere in the brochure it talks about how that money goes to starving Bolivian children. But I don't know. But man, I would have just hoped so. I would just hope so.
So it descends wildly from there into. So of course we're starting out. We're drinking like Yakuza. We're drinking the expensive stuff,
Evidently.
getting all fancy, putting the pinkies out, right?
Yeah.
And then we are going to leave, and we're going to go to what is called in Japan the Nijikai, the second party. So like the second place you go after you've had a nomikai, like all you can drink for 2 hours, where like we did in this bar with this champagne, and then we're going to go to Nijikai, and everyone's talking. It's like, what do you want to do? Pretty standard. Let's go to karaoke.
Yeah.
Let's go sing some songs. Everyone's pretty in agreement. And then our friend, he who shall not be named,
The Mr.
is like-
Monopoly.
he's like, oh shit, karaoke? Yeah, I know a great place. I'll get you guys VIP room.
Oh boy.
It's Miyamoto, right?
And,
Does he like whistle and a
I
helicopter
bet
comes down
Miyamoto
and
has
picks
definitely
everyone
bought
up?
$600 champagne in his time.
Miyamoto gets wild. Okay,
He does.
Go ahead.
We could pretend this whole story that it is Miyamoto, but we could be liable for being sued, I think, by the end of it.
It's very, very hard for me to
Slander.
imagine Miyamoto flexing. I just can't.
Miyamoto flexing.
Right? Can you? Like, it's impossible.
He wears those expensive blazers over his really cheap-ass Nintendo company t-shirts, so...
Which is like the executive working man's uniform from back in the day before like executives became corporate mascots. They'd wear blazers and t-shirts because they're true everyman gamer schlob dorks like us, right, guys?
That's true, yeah.
It's like
Right.
when. Anyways,
I don't think that counts in Nintendo, because those guys have a uniform. Those guys have to dress up every day in uniform to go to work, so...
in blazers and t-shirts.
No, like in shirts and trousers, like true Japanese salaryman. Like people at Nintendo, people who make your favorite Nintendo games wear shirts and ties while they make those games, which I find fascinating.
Man, that's so much less exciting than my mental
Yeah, I
image
know,
of a
right?
studio full
Anyway.
of blazers and t-shirts.
Back to Miyamoto splashing the cash. So he's like, this guy's like, well, he's like, oh, don't worry, I got like a VIP room. Like I'm gonna call and I'll find. And we're all kind of looking at each other, me and the other friends we're with. And we're kind of like, oh, where is this gonna go? Where is this gonna go? Where is he gonna take us?
Yeah.
And we're kind of just like, okay, call and we'll find out, and if not, we'll go to our regular karaoke place. This place that's not too far from where we were. And he's like, okay, I booked us a VIP room. And we're like, oh, cool, like a VIP karaoke booth. That's gonna be great. And he's like, yeah, just follow me. So we start walking, and we walk for a good like 15 minutes. He's like, I apologize, it's a bit far, but don't worry. And he also, like, he looks at us and he said, dead serious. He's like, when we get to a certain part of this area, in this street we walk down, don't talk English.
What?
And we're like, what? And he's like, yeah, don't talk English. If you're gonna talk in Japanese. Because like people around this area, they won't like you, big gaggle.
So
gaijin, a gaggle
will they
of
jump
gaijin.
you? Well, are there
They
like
won't jump you, but
games?
you might get refused to entry to certain places or something.
Okay.
So we're walking and we get to the street and he's like, okay, you need to shut up now. And we're like, oh shit. And we think I think he's joking. He's like, no, he's like deadly serious. He's like, you guys need to be quiet. Shush. And we're like, okay, where the fuck are we? So we carry on walking, and then we're like here, and then and it's like, it's just like a pretty normal looking building.
Mm-hmm.
And then we go upstairs, and it's this like fancy ass like establishment.
How
And
fancy?
we shuffle into this like room, and it was like a big VIP karaoke room with like champagne and
Nice.
like shit tons of sofas and stuff in it. And this
Miyamoto's
big
flexing.
room. Yeah, massively flexing. This room in Japan, definitely expensive. But what then made it more interesting was not 5 minutes later when we all sat down, and it's like all of us, mostly gaijin, but there was some Japanese with us who were like my friends' girlfriends. My girlfriend wasn't there. She was somewhere else in Japan, so she couldn't be there.
Safe.
But
Safe and sound.
she was safe and sound. And she was away from this danger. But I was sending her pictures of the craziness that descended
underworld.
upon us after. But not 5 minutes later, the door opens, and like one of the guys comes in with like the standard like Japanese hand towels that they give you, hot pressed hand towels for you to get comfortable. And behind him follows
Cleanse yourself.
10 women. 10 hostesses whose job was to come and talk to us.
Oh, I think I get it.
It was a hostess bar.
And he signed you up for a hostess party.
Basically, he took us to, he was like, VIP karaoke. I mean, there is karaoke, but here's also 10 women. And it's like a bar. He goes, it's not a bar. Like, think of the Yakuza minigame, like the really high class.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
people that will come in.
Like, club you're running, like, it's that. It's that. It's absolutely that. I walked to the
And
toilet.
you see
and
the
I was
little
just like,
bar. Says,
Yeah.
oh, this person's
Oh
not
my
average. This
God.
person's rich.
yeah. And
That-
and like you walk to the bar and like there is just like 10 booths of like salaryman talking with women who are like laughing at their jokes and shit like that, and it is the most awkward shit you can imagine. It is the most fucking awkward shit.
What did
Oh,
the
please do details. Like,
what did-
Miyamoto was like, yo, girl, I made
No, like
Mario.
also
girl,
our friend
you want to
was
see
like,
my Pikmin?
I
Zelda? Ha. I did
want
that.
to ask so
I got 10
badly.
Zeldas.
What did the girlfriends in the group think of this?
They just kind of were like, because they're Japanese, so they kind of knew where we were. They kind of could gauge what was happening, I think. And,
Wait, did the
all of us-
VIP, Mr. Moneybags, Monopoly Miyamoto, did he know or did he stumble into this?
He fucking knew. He goes there and like we walked into the VIP room and he was like, "Don't sit there." He like pointed at a seat and he was like, "Don't sit there." And we were like, "Why?" And he was like, "That's my seat."
Whoa.
Wow.
Yeah. Whoa. Right.
Moneybags Miyamoto.
They all knew his name. All of these girls knew his name. What? Knew his name.
What?
They sat next to him, and like, so what ended up happening was like everybody who wasn't single and who was awkwardly kind of laughing intently because I just couldn't. It was just the farce that this was descending into. Like, we were shuffled over to one side where we were like, you know what, we're gonna drink and we're gonna sing karaoke. And then everybody who wasn't single, we sort of pushed into a corner with all of the, like, these 10 women who were paid to talk to them.
And I'm just imagining them like pouncing on the guy like a shark. Just this gaggle of girls who really want to laugh at your jokes. Jeez.
Yeah. Oh my god. But there was this one girl who was obviously like the
Top dog.
yeah, the top dog, the young cute one who was meant to be like the important one.
Oh, the alpha.
Even
The
like,
hostess number one, as they call it.
The hostess with the mostess.
she would be like pulling his cash out of his wallet.
What?
Whoa.
And would be like flashing it in front of her face, taking photos with it, counting
Mr.
it,
Moneybags'
and being
pocket
like,
cash.
1 for me, 2 for you, 1 for me, 2 for you. And he's like, daijoubu. Like, it's okay. Like, what the fuck is going on? And then
so
I don't
weird
know if
on
you
so
know
many
how.
levels.
I don't know if you know how hostess bars are run, guys. But basically, the girls talk to you on a 15-minute timer, supposedly.
Wow.
So you pay for them for every 15 minutes, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so what would happen is after 15 minutes would pass, they would change. Like they would change. It would be like a tag team. Like
That's
one would
hilarious.
walk out, high five the other, and then another one would come in. And the other one would fuck
Wow,
off.
like WWE SmackDown.
Literally like
expensive
WWE,
relay
like they were
race.
tag teaming. So it was so funny to just be watching like all our single friends, especially this one awkward, lovable guy who is with us, he is like, you know, he's like maybe the atypical like anime video game nerd. He never really is able to talk to anyone, let alone women.
Yeah.
Who is now being forced into a situation where he has to put up with some crazy hostess trying to talk to him. And he was talking to her in Japanese about cycling because he couldn't think of any other
no.
subject.
I'm having awkward flashbacks. Jesus Christ, that's
We know
that's
you
a
love cycling,
relatable
George.
situation.
Yeah. So the night descended into watching just the guy who obviously ran the establishment, in quotes, would come in and he would look at our friends, the money guy, and the money guy
Moneybags, Miyamoto.
would just like nod, and it just meant like more time. And he kept doing this every like hour, and it went on for what, 5 or 6 hours. It's basically like, you know, I'm kind of like feeling super awkward because I kind of just wanted to do karaoke. I also am feeling awkward because I'm trying to like keep my girlfriend in the loop to be like, hey, this is happening, kind of out of my control. Don't worry, like we had a friend of ours there, a girl who we all love and trust, who my girlfriend trusts very much, who was also kind of as freaked out as we were that we were in this place. So it's called kind of like, look, you know what's happening.
Yeah.
Don't worry, kind of thing. And we're just doing our best to try and sing karaoke and ignore them.
Yeah.
So there is literally, if you can just imagine a room where like you have this one guy who usually goes there, who's surrounded by 2 women who are like flashing his cash and like taking pictures with it. You have like 3 single guys.
8? And there's 8 left? Holy crap.
Yeah. So but there's 3 single guys who are like sat with maybe like 4 of them talking between them, kind of getting more okay with this is what's happening, and then the rest of us who are singing karaoke trying to ignore it all. So there's like 3 other girls who are just sat there watching, doing nothing.
No.
It's so fucking weird.
Were they smiling?
They would like when your drink would be empty, they would like immediately go and refill it. They wouldn't even ask you if you wanted it, like if you wanted to buy another beer, because they just assume you have
Because I guess
money.
it's something to do.
So they would just go away and they would bring you back another drink. Like if you were drinking like beer or champagne, it doesn't matter. They would just immediately go away and bring you another.
So this kind of setup that Monopoly Miyamoto walked you guys into sounds like something that's supposed to be like a company function.
Oh yeah, definitely like a normal Japanese salaryman's like night out.
10 hostesses filling up a private karaoke VIP suite sounds like something that like a group of professionals is meant to consume, not any one individual.
It was weird. So obviously we had this bottle of Cristal, this $600 bottle of champagne as well.
Jesus, you brought it with you?
Yes, because we hadn't opened it in the izakaya because we were drinking like a nomikai, so we were having like, you know, we were having a nomihodai. We could drink all we wanted in the other place, so we didn't need to open it. But we opened it in this place, and obviously the hostesses were jumping at the opportunity to pour themselves some.
So they want that $600 champagne too.
And they were pouring it out, and one of them was pouring it out evenly, but I was like sort of, because it was gifted to me, and I was kind of like wanting it to share with everybody, but I also wanted to keep some of it to give to my girlfriend so she could not feel too left out at experiencing this madness. So like this hostess was pouring it all out, and I was like, no, I need to save some of it and take it home, like a gift bag.
What were you gonna carry it in?
They had like a giant golden box that it came in.
So, you just were gonna bring the bottle with you, I guess.
Yeah, so like,
good.
Like I but the thing is, she poured it all out.
Oh, well, that also saves you from having to improvise.
So I was like, what do I do? So I didn't drink any of it apart from like half a glass. I poured the rest of mine back into the bottle, and like a friend of mine offered theirs as well, and we poured that back in. So that my girlfriend, who ungratefully didn't drink any of it because it was disgusting.
Well, then it's old. You can't drink old champagne and have the same experience.
$600 champagne.
It doesn't have the $600 fresh fizz.
Yeah.
Well,
By that
point, it was just a $450 champagne.
Might as well be drinking water.
But I carried that all the way back in my drunken state. She should, like, appreciate that. Like, I was carrying this really heavy golden box. People wondered what the fuck I'd been up to, carrying this weird golden, like I was on, like, some sort of video game show. Like, you must carry the golden box.
You've been hanging out with someone with a golden paycheck, so...
Yeah. So
Miyamoto does make a lot of money.
So anyway... it just descends into like these people watching us do karaoke of English songs, so they couldn't even sing along. They couldn't do anything, and I think it was as awkward for us as it was it was as awkward for them as it was for us. And like they would like tag out, and I feel like they would go out and they'd be like, oh thank God, I don't have to go back in there with them, referring to us. And it went on until like 3:00 in the morning. And the guy who we were with, the Moneybags, he's a bit older than us as well, which might explain. Like, he's a bit older than us. He's not as old as Miyamoto is, but, he's older. He's got a good 10 or so years on me. He fell asleep.
Wow.
In the karaoke room? Like on one of the big fancy couches?
He just fell asleep in between two girls. He just fell asleep.
Do you think they're used to that? Did they know what to do? Were they like, oh, not again?
Did they rob him?
No, they didn't rob him, but I imagine when he is asleep, they definitely are like...
Took all the money that was on the table.
One for you. Because he's very unsafe with his wads of cash that he carries with him. Because he isn't
I'm sure they're also like
bothered.
charging by the minute sleeping.
I feel they definitely are. They're charging him every 15 minutes for a nap.
Very expensive nap, yeah.
Yeah, like the most expensive nap. But then we left. And I think the final bill came to about.
Oh God.
Do you want to take a guess?
Oh God.
Should we play guess? Should we play Prices Right?
Okay.
The
it's
hostesses,
in the thousands,
or do they like bill you separately?
It's in the thousands, and thank God this guy is absolutely 100% okay with paying the bill, because no single one of us could have even put forth being able to pay this tab.
This is like the Price is Right.
Yeah, this is the Price is
Whoever
Right. I'm your host.
Whoever gets the closest without going over
whoever gets the closest gets a free trip to a hostess bar, because I know a good place.
Okay, let's go with 25 grand.
Okay, that's a bit too high. 25.
Oh, it
Wait,
is.
at 2,500 or 25 grand?
Oh, 25 grand. I was thinking 25 grand.
No,
Okay, so
think
that's
15
too high.
That's way too high. That's like
way
you're
too
getting
high.
to
So I'm
going
gonna
to like
say 5.
You're getting to Shinjuku levels of.
of karaoke
It's
parties.
Shinjuku levels. Okay, I'll go to a
This is
a
countryside Japan levels.
a $5.
Okay.
A $5
George?
grand. What about you, George?
5,000, right? So wait,
I would say go lower.
was 5,000 when he said 25 guys, I have something very embarrassing to admit.
You spent 25 grand on one night out once?
What? No, what does grand mean?
Grand means 1,000.
Oh, so it's
Wait,
of course
what?
it wouldn't have been 25,000.
I don't know these days, man. I don't know.
Grand
Yeah.
is 1K.
I'm gonna say 2,600.
It was 6,700
Yes.
something.
Oh my gosh, Matt! I bet it's because Matt is so experienced with this sort of thing. He
Matt's
hangs
been to
out
Vegas.
with rich people
Mm.
in Vegas.
Matt lives
yes.
this life. Matt lives this life every weekend, just the American side of it.
Oh my god. Oh my
So the
god.
girls are of a different quality.
The perception of me through this podcast. Matt goes to Vegas every week. He's partying.
the local
He's on
escape room.
Everyone's just like,
trampolines.
Liam's the sweet innocent one. He doesn't go to hostess bars.
Going to hostess bars. That'd be interesting though. I don't know. Like I feel like if I spoke Japanese, I would go in there and kind of ask them questions about like
I mean,
life.
the reality
and how it
is
is.
that most of the girls are university students who
Right.
just need money. And that is the kind of horrible seedy truth about hostess bars for the most part, because you don't get older people working in hostess bars because Japan is incredibly sexist and incredibly ageist. That you don't get that. So most of them are just university students who need money, and it's easy if you're pretty. A lot of Japanese people are pretty. So it was the oddest, weirdest, strangest experience.
I can't believe they do company party packages.
They definitely do. And the thing is, this was a small establishment on a street full of them. Like, it is just so Japan. I don't know how they afford this shit, but like, it is like, this is Japan. Like, when you
Imagine-
play the Yakuza games and you wonder why you're like running a hostess bar, it's because that's what the fucking Yakuza do.
Imagine,
I don't understand.
like
With the
your
Yakuza,
boss.
we didn't mention anything about the Yakuza. You didn't get into a drunken fight.
Oh no,
Yeah.
but like the guys who were running it were Yakuza. Like,
Oh.
it was like
Wait, how do you
like,
know?
the patrons were salarymen for sure, and like you get like a couple of younger Yankee, kind of like the street punks you would fight in Yakuza. There was a couple of those guys in there, but they're usually like, especially in the countryside, they don't really care about like foreigners in any way. And like the people who were like serving at the bar, and like the guy who would come in were like kind of older guys, like who were just working there. But they, when you'd walk through it, you'd have people who are obviously there to sort of not protect the girls, but definitely like keep a watchful eye.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, yeah, they're
Bouncers.
we know who those guys are. They're more worried about the assets of the business.
I was
they're
wondering,
being looked after.
like what they have in mind in case people at the office party get too competitive with one another. Like sometimes when you bring the office out to laser tag, and there's always like the one guy who's way too intense about it. What does that look like at an office hostess bar party?
Trying to be too funny.
Is
Trying to
there
be so
like-
funny to make the girls laugh. I don't know.
like a competitive culture to it? That, God, I just feel like there's
who
this
can be the loudest? That
huge
would
new can
definitely
of
go down.
worms, a whole new world of possibilities.
Oh, man, I don't know, but I'm okay with going throughout my life not having to really do that again. It wasn't like a miserable experience, but it was just awkward. Just so awkward that it makes
Awkward
it
for
enjoyable.
6 hours though. Holy crap!
No, because it was like, we just started to ignore that side of it, and we focused more on the fact that we had free karaoke and we could just sing like, at the same time I was being able to get free drinks endlessly
I was
and
about
also
to-
sing free karaoke.
To say, like, I'm having flashbacks
there were upsides to it.
because it seems like I don't want to say nothing good so much as nothing boring tends to happen when we follow your rich friend of friends' around for drinking at night in Japan. Because this is reminiscent of how we ended up hungover in Osaka, and I threw up that McDonald's orange juice.
I mean, that was less money, and that was more like people we knew, whereas this was all money. This was just like, he's a very nice guy. I've known him for a while. His life is kind of mysterious. He's super into video games and stuff. Like, he has every fucking VR and AR technology you possibly can imagine.
It's probably still cheaper than the office party package at the hostess.
A Tanga room. VR Tanga room.
The 3D VR Tanga room.
Easily. Whatever I can imagine as a person in mind.
Oh, goddamn.
Okay, I got an interesting question, and that is, like, what kind of video games does Mr. Moneybags here seem into, and how intense is he into it? Does he have his favorite like FGC player who he follows with like slang and jargon that he throws out in the middle of social moments?
He's into, like, you know, VR shit. Like, he's into, like, playing VR stuff and having, like, the... I think he was telling me about a backpack he bought that rumbles when he plays games.
The upper businessman's class of gaming.
Like a haptic... He has, like, a haptic feedback backpack that he wears when he plays VR games.
A feedback, like, rumbles. Backpack?
Haptic feedback.
Backpack.
Haptic feedback backpack.
Gotcha. Haptic feedback backpack.
Haptic feedback backpack. Haptic feedback.
The haptic feedback backpack.
He's gonna be the first to get, like, the whole suit, just like Ready Player One.
He has, like, 8 phones.
What?
God, I hope he never ever listens to this episode.
Oh, ever. He's going to listen to it.
I hope not. I mean, if he does, that's fine, because he's a nice guy. He generally is a really nice guy.
You can't say that now.
He could probably do better with his money. Or I would like to say, if he feels like he needs to spend money to hang out with us, like,
follow
he doesn't
us
need to do
on
that.
Patreon, and he should tell him that.
Speaking of Patreon, you can support www.patreon.com/lamesjapanstories.com.
Oh my God!
And I will go to any hostess bar you wish.
The shill.
I just want to, like, look at your friend Mr. Miyamoto Monopoly Moneybags and be like, hostess parties don't pay the rent. Wink, wink.
Yeah. Okay. He did offer me some money to help with my move to Kyoto, because moving costs so much money that now I have no money, and I was like, thanks, man, but I'm good. I'm good. I don't want to owe you money. I feel like that's a dangerous route to go down with someone who is doing that on weekends.
Well, has anyone actually played games this week?
I played MTG Arena, and that's it.
George?
I can't stop playing Magic.
I think that's, like, more challenging question is, has anyone played any new games this week?
Excuse me.
Yeah.
That's such shade on Matt.
Yeah,
Matt
I sense
games
some
from 2018
shade.
now.
Well, no.
Okay, I just got my PS4. All right.
Matt goes to video game stores and he looks at the date they get released, and if they came out in 2019, he's like, no way.
I can walk back on this. See, when I was talking about it, I meant new to the podcast. I just have been playing stuff. I've picked up Firewall again. I'm still working through Fire Emblem. I'm still doing Tetris Effect. Matt's got new stuff to talk about, though.
Yeah, but Horizon Zero Dawn, I beat it.
Yeah, see, I'm not that bad of a friend. Horizon Zero Dawn, how was it?
Don't panic. Resident Evil 2 comes out next week. We will talk about it.
I played Resident Evil 2 demo too. I thought the animations for the faces were actually pretty good.
Yeah, man.
I really liked it. It's like a weird. It doesn't look real. It just looks good. I don't know how to explain that. It just looks interesting.
It looks like
looking at it. It looks different from the trailer too. The trailer looked a little off. And then here with the demo, it looked a lot better. Like it actually fit the person's face.
Are you using PS4 regular or PS4 Pro?
Oh no, I played it on my PC.
So maybe you can answer. Did you have that issue where the reflections of the room and like polished wood and stuff was kind of pixelated and blurry around the edges of stuff?
No, everything looked fine to me.
Because the PS4 version, the regular one that I played, looked really, really good, but there was this like glaring glitches going on with the reflections that I think might push me towards the PC version instead.
Yeah, PC Master Race.
There's a little bit of black pixelation in the reflections. Someone call FEMA.
I don't know if I don't have nostalgia for it, so I playing it as a
like,
game. It just like, oh, I get a knife, and now I can go through duct tape now. It's just like, what is this? But it's a remake, so I can't really.
How else are you gonna break the duct tape?
What do you mean?
It's definitely like, I don't like people saying it like it's
There's
a remake.
glass. You could break the glass and use the glass shards to cut the duct tape.
There's not a pick-uppy button in front of it.
There's not a you can equip knife. You can equip glass button.
Okay.
Also, that knife durability meter. We did not talk about that last week.
Yeah, that was off too. I was like, okay. I don't like that if I got a little
I don't know,
bit
like
close
if you're
to
slashing shit for a long time, that shit's gonna break. Especially if you're like slashing walls and shit.
But you only get like three or four. Like if someone's like if one of those zombies gets to you, like you get you get sucked into their like little script event, and then
What was really cool though is like if you slash at a zombie enough, you cut off like parts of their body.
Oh yeah, there's a like.
That's really fucking cool. Like if you like slash the arms enough, like the arms will just like start to tear off. It's so cool. Some of the like gore animations, like it's not like procedurally generated, but like how much must be going into.
Yeah, even if you don't have nostalgia, it should still satisfy.
It looks good
in terms of just like looking for a good survival horror video game. Like there's some really interesting mechanics going on, like that knife with the durability meter. The inventory is still like really as small as is in the old games. I also noticed that the zombies have tricks. Like they will move when the camera is not pointed at them. If they're trying to hide into piles of bodies, they will also like ragdoll sometimes, but then come back. Yeah.
God, that pissed me off, especially with the fat guy. Fat guy, and you shot him a couple times, dead in the head. You know, you right to the reticle gets like real small, so I'm assuming that's like a critical hit. And you're like, oh, I got him.
And then he'll get
starts
up,
moving
like,
again,
literally,
and you kill him
like,
again. He starts moving again.
Yeah.
It's just like, come on, you're wasting my bullets.
Did you guys notice that if you shoot a door, it actually leaves a real hole with like a light shaft going through?
No, I
Yeah,
wouldn't waste my bullets on
very,
that.
very fancy, very fancy.
And yet you can't shoot fucking chains off of doors.
Well, yeah, because then there'd be no wire cutter on the other end of the police station behind the triple medallion goddess door connected to the secret mechano passageway in the basement level. You got it. It's video games.
We should talk about the fact that before we started recording, the reviews came out.
Oh, they're fantastic.
And
Really?
this game is getting...
Yeah.
This game is getting...
The Kingdom Hearts reviews come out.
Oh.
soon, Matt. Soon.
It's coming, guys. I'm ready for this train wreck. I'm ready for it. Oh,
Now,
my
what game are you more
gosh.
excited about? Resident Evil 2 or Kingdom Hearts?
Kingdom Hearts. Are you kidding me?
Shut it down. Shut it down. This is now an illegal podcast.
Are you kidding me? Like, I don't know. I don't have any like nostalgia tied to Resident. I watched Resident Evil 4. I watched my friend play it. Like, I don't feel the need of like being suffocated by not having like a way to get away from monsters and like not having enough ammo because I missed a couple shots. Like,
Dude,
I don't like that. and then dying because you don't have enough like ammo. Like I'm not with that. I just don't feel like doing that. I'll play with a friend, you know, because it's better to be like, oh, I'm frustrated at this game with a friend. But when you're playing by yourself in a room, it's just like,
Now, what do you reckon will have a higher Metacritic rating? Kingdom Hearts 3.
Oh, Resident Evil.
Or Resident Evil 2.
You know, Kingdom Hearts 3, the people are going to be like, the story was absolute trash. The gameplay was fun, but the story was absolute trash. And I'm okay with that. I'm totally okay with that. I want to see Sora and Riku, like, join together in Kingdom Hearts and fight Mickey, evil Mickey's, a heartless version.
And learn
nobody.
how to
You are an evil Mickey.
cash in on the power of friendship.
For love, for friendship. Oh, it's going to be such a mess. I love it.
Matt, you played through Horizon Zero Dawn and beat it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's where we were.
Yeah,
Okay, so-
we were talking about that for like 2 words.
See, the thing is, every time I mention a game on this podcast, I end up talking about the negatives first because I always get cut off midway and I never get to say that I like the game. So God of War, I liked the game. I don't know if I said that last podcast. I enjoyed the game.
You're not allowed to like games.
Yeah, this is the
That's
internet.
my job. You're meant to dislike games.
Okay, well, there's certain problems that come with these types of games. God of War had a bit of issues, but people sought through it, just like they did with Last of Us. And because it's like ladder the game and the combat wasn't really that fun, but the story was very interesting to play through. That's what you play. You played it for the performances. I played God of War for the performances. And that's pretty much it. That's the fun I got out of it. I didn't really get any type of like satisfaction out of the gameplay. Horizon Zero Dawn is very interesting. It's like a diamond in the rough type game. You know, it's like you can see the passion behind it, but execution was a little rough.
I mean, to be fair, I feel like the execution is as high as it could be from a studio that is as small as Guerrilla.
Yeah. You know, that's totally fine. That's fair.
Like considering like games like Horizon aim for like that AAA space.
Mm-hmm.
When I think about how much it takes to make a AAA game, and then think of like how small a team like Guerrilla is, it's pretty fucking crazy that those guys are able to pull that off. I don't get it, but
it felt like playing. You know how you play those games like the what do you call Sacred 2? Those type of that feel. It's like double A. Is that a level?
Yeah.
The level underneath
Paradox
between indie and
when it's just not polished.
Frictional.
It's just not polished. Like when you're riding the mount, it's like trying to control a damn like robot. Like I don't know. Like it's weird. Like you're turning, but it doesn't want to turn. It doesn't want to go up the mountain. Things are chasing you. It stops randomly because there's a little rock in front of it. It's so freaking annoying. Sometimes you can't assassinate a person that is like directly in front of you because you're elevated a little bit more, and you have to get the right spot. And when you press the button, you would like hit them instead of assassinate them, and that will alert the whole like area that you're in, which is terrible because this game is not really meant for the run and gun. Like you have to respect the game or it will kill you really quickly, which is like kind of what I like about it. It's not there's a lot of strategy involved. Like there's different armors. Like I learned how like the armor system works. It's more like when you level up you get more hit points. Mm-hmm. The armor doesn't necessarily give you more armor so you can take more hits. It's like you have to pick a specific thing you want to protect yourself from. Elements, melee attacks, projectiles, and not every armor has everything. I got like the best armor in the game by collecting these little power cells or whatever that gives you like a shield, which is probably like the best thing you can get. But like that's also true for like the weapons. All the weapons have a different situation that you can use them for as well. Like you have like the rope gun that tie down monsters that are constantly chasing you, so you can actually break some of their armor off, so you can get into the flesh. Try to stick your sword in there, and then there's like certain elements that you can disable a robot with. There's all sorts of stuff you can do, and in that way, the combat is actually pretty tight. It's pretty good.
Yeah, that sounds interesting. Like there's a little rock, paper, scissors to it.
Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot of that. Yeah, because there's like a trap one where it's like a tightrope that you shoot on the floor. Kind of like it kind of has like that Just Cause feel to it, where you can like put like a little trip, a little trip trap, so the monsters, the robots can like trip over it and set off a trap, and it does damage to them. Depending on what weaknesses they have, because you can scan them, you can find out what weaknesses they have. Like they'll glow yellow, and what elements hurt certain weaknesses. What will be easier to use to break off certain parts, so you can get inside that flesh, that sweet flesh, robot
Cyber
flesh.
flesh.
But the thing that surprised me the most about this game is that there is a lot of black characters. Like, I've never seen that before. Like, it's so much that I have to mention it, is what I'm saying.
Okay.
Like, they're actually designed black as well. Like, they're not just like white people, like white models with just like painted black.
To ask.
Yeah, just like kind of like who did that last time? Sunset Overdrive actually had like black people. Like they designed black people. Black people tend to have bigger lips and different faces than like a white person would have. But yeah, like they actually had that, and even though the main character is white, there's a lot of black supporting characters, a lot of them, which is pretty interesting. So much so it makes you wonder. It's like was she supposed to be black? Like, I don't understand here. Like, this is a little bit off. But yeah, it was pretty interesting, and it had Lance Reddick, and any game that has Lance Reddick in it, I'm gonna play.
Yay.
I did not know he was in it. If you guys don't know who Lance Reddick is, he's also the Guardian in Destiny 2. He's in The Wire.
Yeah. He's in The Wire, right?
Yeah. God, when I hear that guy's voice, oh my gosh, something happens. Something happens inside of me, deep. But yeah, it's you got to go through some of the bad voice acting because it happens. A lot of the little glitches that will happen here and there. If you're kind of forced to kind of explore a lot, and you have to pick up all these little plants and trees constantly in order to have enough space, enough modifications and stuff like that. And I beat the game on normal. You can totally not pick up every damn thing and still beat the game. Even though I did get the mega armor at the end, I just didn't want to spend too long just doing that. Because a lot of the side quests are kind of meh, really meh. But yeah, I say it's a good time. It's not perfect, but it's definitely a good time. The setting is nice. The story was pretty interesting, and it didn't. Some of it was a little off, but overall, it was satisfying at the end.
How long did it take you?
I think it's a 20-hour game.
That's
a 20-hour game.
A little substantial.
Yeah, for you just completing the main quest. I'm pretty sure my playtime is over 20 hours because I did do extra stuff. Because you can go inside these these little dungeons that would unlock overrides for you to override certain machines, and you can ride them or make them fight for you, which are pretty sick. Machines that
I remember the combat and like the interesting things you could do with it. From what I'd played, were like,
yeah, there's a lot of ways to tackle it. It's not just a point and shoot game.
It was like it's not of the extent of like Monster Hunter, but that's what it reminded me of. Like the different options you have to take shit down.
Yeah, it's a good game. By no means a bad game. I played like the complete version, so hopefully like all the bug fixes and everything like that, and yeah, it was a good game. I don't know. Like, I guess I recommend it if you want to go back and play a game that's cool, has a cool setting. It depends on what you're into.
That's a good reason to play a game.
Yeah. I don't have like, you should absolutely put this on your list. If you missed it, you better get it. No, I don't know if it's that. It's definitely not that. But I'm really hard to sell on stuff like that anyway. So take what I take what I say, and then maybe if you find something you like, then you might
Take
enjoy
what
it.
I say and just shove it down your throat.
Yes, shove it down your throat and process it, and maybe spend like what was it like? It's like $18 for the complete version, $12 for like the regular version. It's definitely worth that. If you have a game not to play, then yeah, I would say that's an old one to pick up and play.
You ever pick up and play an old multiplayer game you were really into, and suddenly it just seems like a completely different vibe than when you were really into it back in the day?
Which one are you talking about?
I'm trying to talk about loading up Firewall 0 Hour again after laying low.
You just played it though.
6 to 8 months. I gave it a whirl.
You like an old multiplayer game they used to play?
I'm thinking like Halo.
Only 2 months ago.
Yeah, I'm thinking like Halo, something like that. Maybe
Star Wars
some old Call of
Galaxies, like,
Duties.
oh man, do you remember like when we used to play Star Wars Galaxy?
Well, I guess it's like a little more
2-player Pac-Man.
illustrative of the weirdness in that that game is a climb now in a way that it was not at all. Well,
Didn't you complain about it like not having a good fucking
progression
system? Yeah, progression system.
And now that
I was gonna say ranking, but yeah.
Now that it's had months to simmer in that, it's like almost absurd at this point how outclassed players who have been playing this thing through that grind are compared to everyone else just starting out. Like, comical. I don't know how to describe it flatteringly. After a good 20 to, 30 hours or so of grinding, you get signal jammers. A good 40 to 50 hours more, you get door blockers. And those completely change, like, everything. Namely, what route the defenders even have available to them. And out of all the matches that I played over the free weekend, where they had, well, quote-unquote free, they had opened the game up to trial for PSN subscribers who also had the PSVR headset and whatnot. And I might have won maybe like 3 of the matches of the 20 or 30 or so that I played in total. And that was even when we were able to connect in the first place. It's got netcode issues now that are like leagues ahead of what the experiences was like back on launch, where me and my groups were having a slot machine of a time, pulling the crank, hoping that we could get into a stable lobby, because they have it going with a peer-to-peer networking system, where if one person in the game full of 8 people drops, it'll toss you out of the game into a loading screen for a while before starting up an entirely new match from scratch. It's a little alarming. I'm a little alarmed.
I'm surprised, not surprised people are still playing it, but I don't really hear anything about this game anymore. Like when it came out, it was like, yeah, this is a pretty damn good like team squad first-person shooter in VR, but then it was like, well, that ship sailed.
I'm distraught because I have, like in my circles, a little more privy to it. They've been updating it. They've been adding some quality of life features that are nice, but it seems like whatever infrastructure under the hood that they're working on was not able to handle a free you see, I keep using the word free. They weren't able to handle a free weekend to the extent that this already tiny audience size for this game is able to be ballooned into a slightly less tiny size for the promotion. Because that's still a very small amount of people who are able to play this thing in the first place, let alone people who are also paying for the PS Plus subscription that gave you the trial to this thing, which means it's not really a free trial. So,
well,
I'm actually going to be hopping back on it again after this podcast, because I don't want to give up hope. And those 3 matches I played where we did win were really, really fun. And I always notice a correlation between like how much people are talking and how well you do in these games. So there's always a possibility that the one night where I really like went hard on this during the free weekend and the one night where I went half, the one night where I went hard and just lost the whole time might have just been a fluke. It could have just been a fluke. It's a multiplayer game. Anything can happen. I don't know. I'm shrugging my way up into the sky.
Well, report back next week.
I'll try. Let's see. Liam, do you remember the last part of Fire Emblem Echoes going on way longer than the rest of the game?
No, because it's like the one I didn't finish.
I'm at the end of it, and it's like doing that thing where the last dungeon is taking me about as long as like
the game itself.
Almost. I mean, I've restarted it a couple times because party members are dying and I can't have that, and they're really, really trying me for that.
I remember I reviewed Fire Emblem Fates back in the day. I reviewed that game a couple of years ago, and I was on a pretty strict deadline to get it finished, and oh my god, like the last like fucking final stages of it just were just so fucking long.
I'm wondering if that's a thing. The Fire Emblem games having really, really great pacing, excellent pacing, sublime pacing up until the very, very last dungeon. Because I noticed up until this, like the game is beautifully timed for handheld play. Like you can put it down and do other things while the story is going. If you just like press the play button, you're not going to miss anyone's talking head by doing paperwork at the side. And all those little breaks in the middle of battles for like you just leveled up. Like those are cute little stopping points. But having to commit to a game where so many moments are broken up into little micro decisions where you can safely put the thing down for the course of dungeons that get as long as these final few we're getting is it's a black mark against it, but only because it's been so perfect up until this point that I wouldn't have even noticed otherwise.
And some people wouldn't complain about that because
right.
More content the better. But I feel like when it gets to that point, especially with me, like I just want to fucking finish a game and move on.
Yes, it's the first point.
I don't want to keep banging my head against it, or I'm done now. Like I feel like this game has to end like within the next hour, otherwise I'll never finish it.
And that's the paradigm of having more content. Is like it's a good thing up until it's filler, and this is the first time this game has felt like they've had to resort to filler.
Like I was kind of having to talk to myself about Resident Evil 2. I was like, Liam, you can't just play like one of the storylines in Resident Evil 2. You can't just play like Leon A. You have to also play Claire B. Or if you play Claire A, you have to play Leon B. You're not gonna, after one, you're not gonna stop. You have to push through. It'll be worth it.
And they're
I think
fun.
I'm just terrible with finishing games.
And Resident Evil 2 is like especially short and digestible.
Like Matt's finished like my yearly quota in like 2 weeks.
2 games? I finished 2 games and a demo? Oh, please. Oh, please. I haven't played games in like so long.
I finished the demo, so like I'm up there.
Did you play the demo multiple times?
No.
Oh, I wonder why.
I did 3 times. It wasn't that hard.
Because I didn't have interest to play it again.
Ooh. You wait until Kingdom Hearts 3 comes out, man. I'm gonna trash that shit.
I'm gonna be like, I didn't say it was trash though. I just said that I just don't want to deal with not having enough ammo because I missed a couple shots.
That's the thing about Resident Evil. I can understand how it would turn you off having to worry about that, but I've been in a lot of situations in those games. I have not ran out of ammo that...
It gives you enough.
Yeah,
like
but the fear is always there.
If you look around, it gives you enough.
Like, the ammo actually is there. It's the fear of the ammo. That changes everything.
Anxiety the game. Anxiety part 2.
Yeah. But what about if you don't have enough mana, or MP, or AP, or whatever the fuck
please.
Kingdom
What
Hearts
if you don't
uses?
have enough money?
Oh, please.
You
can still press the attack button.
That's true. That's why I'm kind of like the Resident Evil 2 knife thing does worry me a little bit, because like the knife was always, like, especially in Resident 4, was always your go-to when you had no ammo. Now
I
it's got
want
like
you
a fucking
to
time limit to it.
take a knife,
I like that.
go out there, kill some zombies 4 times, and see if the knife breaks.
It does break.
Oh,
It
you
sucks.
tried this in real life.
No.
Wait, but zombie. I mean, ICP fans still exist, I'm sure, but I don't think you're. Anyways,
I think this is video game logic, and I'm trying to make it into real logic because you still need a knife to cut duct tape. So I really should put it in video game logic. Yeah. So really, my argument doesn't make any sense.
I mean, I get the logic that a knife, if you bang a knife against something for enough times, it will break. Like, I get that.
That's
but not against
flesh,
like,
though.
flesh.
Flesh.
Yeah.
and highlighting
Maybe zombie flesh is tough.
the absurdity of needing a knife to cut duct tape in a police station full of broken glass. It just like it showcases what a paradox it is to care about
The fact
video
that
games.
the thing is even duct taped to begin with is a parody in itself. Like, why would someone duct tape that?
The fancier the video game gets, the more contradictions you're going to find to break video game rules with. So why even
That's
bother
true.
existing? Eventually, the universe is going to explode.
Why even
planet
bother
Earth is
playing
gonna
them to
blow
start
up.
with?
Eventually,
you
we're
could
all
totally
gonna...
like talk about Kingdom Hearts logic too, and that's
Oh, I want to
goes
hear
into-
it.
that's that would be disgusting.
I wanna
It'd be
hear
a lot worse than
you-
Resident Evil.
Get nerdy about Resident Evil, not Resident Evil, about Kingdom Hearts lore.
Well, everybody knows what the next 2 podcasts are gonna be like. It's gonna be like, next week we're gonna talk about Resident Evil 2 and how great it is, and then the week after, Matt's gonna talk about how great Kingdom Hearts 3 is.
Oh, I see how it is. I'm gonna be like, oh hey, what's up, guys? Kingdom Hearts 3 is great. And then
Let's
keep
move
going.
on to the news.
Hey, you still don't have a Sega CD? What are you waiting for? Nintendo to make one? You have seen the games, right? Wrong answer, man. Show 'em. Want to see more?
I've not oftentimes seen cats that look like genuinely excited to see you today. Cats seem like very...
Has there ever been a cat that has ever existed that has ever been excited about anything?
I don't know. I don't think so. I doubt it, in fact. Cats don't seem very sociable at all. I don't understand how this happened. Why are cats?
Cats are as evil as EA.
Oh no, the EA, the resident
There it
pariah
is.
demigod of the video game industry.
They call me King Segway.
They canceled a game, much like how segues cancel thoughts on previous topics. EA canceled a open world Star Wars game that was in production.
Again.
Oh, sorry, Star Wars. That's plural. There's multiple wars over these stars. That
There's multiple Star Wars games in development for EA too.
It was
Yep.
codenamed Orca, and supposedly EA
It's a cool codename.
is right.
By Codenames Go, that's a pretty good one. Orca.
They're supposedly canceling this one to try and speed production on smaller scale projects that EA wants to ship sooner. This is something that they said in a reply to Jason Schreier's posting of this story. They also clarified that no one was laid off, so I don't know exactly.
Wait, I think this should come as no surprise to anyone. This is the Star Wars game that Visceral were working on, and then Visceral got closed down, and then this project got moved to EA Vancouver, who's an entirely different studio. This is like someone being fired and then you being given their work from a completely different company with tool sets you've never used before, with a project you know nothing about. Like, this was never gonna go well in any way, shape, or form. It's like, you guys were working on what? Now we have to work on this? Like, okay.
It sounds expensive. They were. Well, evidently it wasn't an open world game when it was at Visceral. It was quote unquote
It was a single player game,
ragtag.
It was the Amy Hennig one, right? The single player one.
Oh God, which canceled Star Wars game was the Amy Hennig one? Was that 1811?
No, that was the Visceral one.
1111.
No, that was the Visceral one.
The Visceral one was Amy
Amy
Hennig?
Hennig's one was the Visceral one, I believe.
Okay.
And then the Star Wars 1818, that was Is it 1880?
Yeah, I think I'm just kind of confused because the Star Wars take on Uncharted was also a different canceled Star Wars game that actually had some footage leak out of a hero jumping off of plane parts falling down a shaft.
Yeah.
It looked very Uncharted.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure the Amy Hennig one was the Visceral one, I think.
And also, how weird is it that there's this like canon and chronology of canceled Star Wars games at this point? I guess bigger point to the story here is looking at EA's release schedule for Star Wars games and just how pithy it is compared to the LucasArts years when they were shopping out the brands to multiple developers who were making first-person shooters as well as strategy games, as well as third-person movie tie-in, beat-em-up shovelware games, as well as pen-and-paper-based BioWare RPGs. And in the pretty much decade that EA and Disney have had this license, we've gotten 2 Battlefront games and some mobile spin-offs. And the big, expensive, exciting ones keep getting canceled.
Yeah, but Battlefront sold really well. So it's not like...
I think the second one struggled.
The second one... Yeah, I think the second one struggled because it was a mess. But I think from an EA point of view... Yeah. Oh, yeah. Do you remember those things?
That was by Battlefield 2's big claim to fame, was bad sales figures and the loot box scandal happening at once.
Weird. They've not done very well with the Star Wars IP in terms of video games, I guess. But, Respawn are still working on their one.
Right, money where their mouth is. There's one on the way from Respawn. They're calling it a Jedi something, which might mean that it can appeal to my Jedi Knight nostalgia.
Oh, yeah, do you remember when they announced it at E3, and it was literally, they just pulled up Vince Zampella from the crowd, and they were like, "You're working on a Star Wars game, right?" And he's like, yeah.
That's the thing.
And they're like, "Oh yeah, what's it called? Jedi something?"
Wow.
That was so fucking awkward.
In a room full of video game developers, if you have to like shout, "Who's working on Star Wars?" whoever answers is going to be like really confused and like in the distance. Because if they really did cancel this to speed up production on some others, why haven't we heard of those more? I mean, it still sounds like most of this stuff is in pre-production phase.
I don't think it means speed production on smaller scale Star Wars projects. I think it just means like whatever EA Vancouver were working on before got ground down to a halt because of this new Star Wars project that Visceral were working on being passed on to them. So I imagine they a lot of their resources just went onto that project. Hopefully. And they were like, actually, do you know what? We can't do this and all the other projects we were working on. So now we have to can the Star Wars game that we knew nothing about, that Visceral were working on.
Hopefully they actually do come out, but I don't know. If they do, then maybe they shouldn't. Man, you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. Because look at this, okay? If Visceral gets shut down and EA cancels a Frankenstein project from them that got handed on to another studio who is already busy with other things, and they cancel it, then you're hated for canceling games. On the other hand, if you are Bethesda and you drum up some really, really weird Fallout spinoff that no one really asks for besides maybe the one way too enthusiastic producer at the office who grinds this project along while everyone else is sighing, and Fallout 76 ends up releasing to a disaster of review scores and technical scandals and $200 edition gift bags being totally not worth the money, which is a shocking revelatory non-story as well. You also have this recent controversy of Fallout 76 players getting banned for accessing developer-only rooms that were left into the final build that they released to players. But apparently in order to get it, you need to run a third-party tool like Cheat Engine. Okay, so they employ a anti-cheat program that detects third-party programs like Cheat Engine. But other third-party programs that trigger this thing include programs like Reshade, which don't know if you guys have played with Bethesda game modding, but it's a very, very popular tool that is compatible with other games as well as non-Bethesda games, used for harmless graphics moddings that apparently set this thing off as well.
Why are we even talking about Fallout 76? Like, at this point, it's just a done deal. This game's a mess.
It's news because an overzealous developer banning people for screwing around with their software in a multiplayer game, that's not exactly surprising. What is surprising is that players who write an essay about why cheating is bad get a shot at having their bans revoked.
Wow.
Please write 1,000 lines saying, "I will not cheat in Bethesda games again."
The actual literal quote is, "If you would like to appeal this account closure, we would be willing to accept an essay on why the use of third-party cheat software is detrimental to an online game community for our management team to review." So the management team has to grade your essay and decide if you've learned your lesson or not well enough to get let back in the game to play with other players.
George, I think you should buy Fallout 76, cheat, and then it should be like a podcast experimental activity to see if you can write an essay good enough to get your account back.
I would need to make sure that they don't know, who I am. That I'm not.
I don't think they'll know. You just have to make up some fake ass.
Exactly. So what do you think it should be? What should my alter ego stage name be?
Essay writer 76.
You can rent. You can rent it, right?
Ah, George, please.
Liam, that was a good Metroid joke. Yes.
George, please.
I saw it and I was just like, nope.
George, please. Get your account banned. Rent it, get your account banned, and let's see if you can write an essay good enough.
Just so I can give it the byline by Essay 76. It wouldn't be that expensive of an endeavor, especially because there are now rumors circulating that Fallout 76 may be going free to play soon.
And you can time how long it'll get you, how long it'll take for you to get banned.
By no clipping into the developer only rooms, which is apparently all it takes.
But hopefully it won't be too long, because then you'd have to play it for a large stint of time, and I imagine that's not something you particularly want to do.
Well, if I want to play a game for a large stint of time in front of a audience for a online interactive segment, it will probably cause less of a splash. I don't know how to introduce this without sounding like
H-Bomber Guy did a fucking good thing.
Yeah, and I'm not competitive about it or anything, but H-Bomber Guy
he played Donkey Kong 64 for 56 hours or whatever it was.
Yeah, I mean, I did my 24 hours of Rainbow Six Siege, and it was pretty fun. But I'll give credit to where credit's due. Donkey Kong 64 for 50 something hours is probably not as good a game.
It's a pretty rough game. It's a rough game, especially if you're going to do what he was trying to do, which was 101% it.
For charity. Charity in question is Mermaids, which works to provide resources and support to young people with gender dysphoria. Apparently, Graham Linehan.
So basically, what happened is there is this
actor,
famous comedy writer. He's not famous. He's a well-known comedy writer in the UK who was one of the key people in making some of the UK's most beloved comedies, like Father Ted, The IT Crowd, Black Books, comedies I very much enjoy. And for a long time, he was quite known in the video game Twitter sphere, because he would post about video games and stuff like that, and he would talk about it. But he seemed to be a pretty genuinely, quote, woke motherfucker. He seemed to be pretty good. But then when it came, there was I think it was at some point last year, I think it came up when people were talking about transphobia and like trans rights and stuff like that. And all of a sudden, old Graham here seemed to be a bit disagreeable with
basically sharing a lot of paranoid posts on social media about what he saw as a terrifying, extreme ideological agenda.
Yes, he was very much like boys are boys, girls are girls, and we should not be allowing young people to we should not be enabling young people to fulfill fantasies of being the opposite gender and stuff like that. And he went to Mumsnet.
What is Mumsnet?
Famous ass paranoid mums forum. A forum where mums complain about shit, I think.
Oh, no way. Like
Wow.
so they can have a place to, like, share rumors of weird people putting razor blades in the Halloween candy and stuff?
Kind of like a weird mums, like,
oh, you knew that would happen on the internet eventually.
Ass. And basically, old Graham here wrote a post about why...
Old Graham.
Mermaids had funding from the UK National Lottery. So I don't know how it works in America, but our lotteries, what people play every week, like the National Lottery, a lot of that money goes into paying charities.
Yeah.
And they get lottery
Georgia,
funding.
It goes to state scholarships for colleges.
Yeah. So, like, Mermaids had basically, he wrote a post saying that Mermaids, a charity that provides resources for young people with gender dysphoria and support for transgender and also young vulnerable people who have trans issues, should have their national lottery funding pulled. And he was successful in doing so.
To the tune of about 500,000 USD in a government grant. That was a legitimate, like, official investigation and delay has been put on hold on this grant going to this charity that has just been filled more or less by $340K by H-Bomber during this Donkey Kong stream. Like, of all the places where, like, their budget could weirdly balance itself out despite this recent controversy, as well as apparently get a big-ass boost when they're done, because they do think they will be getting that grant money eventually. But yeah, they are astounded that this huge windfall came from Donkey Kong and H-Bomber guy, who apparently was attracting an increasingly prestigious list of guests as the event went on.
I think this stream went from like 600 people to, by the end, it had like 26,000 people watching.
Which
is insane.
Guests climbing the rungs of the video game industry and beyond ladder, starting with...
it starts out with, like, getting pretty good guests, like, Jim Sterling and stuff like that.
There's Grant
Kirkhope,
who Josh Sawyer. So some game developers who made some hits, and then there's John Romero, who
John Romero was on it.
Deus Ex and everyone's favorite Daikatana. Chelsea Manning shows up, who was, like, whistleblowing footage of U.S. helicopters killing civilians, which isn't games,
herself.
but news. And then Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez shows up to talk about trans rights, who's the firebrand revolutionary young senator. My God, it's like, who wasn't?
It was insane. It just kept, like, upping itself.
Well, while it was going on, I was probably playing Firewall, but I was actually getting requests myself to go on, and I guess they were just taking people at some point. And
they were like, "Oh, we've done Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Now we have to get George Reed."
I remember getting a request, and then I remember being like, "Wait a second, why are people just showing up on this guy's stream? I thought it was his stream." And then I looked at the news 6 hours later, and it was AOC shows up on H-Bomber guy's stupid Donkey Kong
you missed
stream.
your chance, George. You missed your chance.
I did.
You could have finally got your political nugget out.
Well, for those who don't listen to the Dad and Sons podcast every single week, you might not get to hear the like occasional moment where I just like start screaming about the political nuggets.
Occasional?
What do you mean by sarcastic occasional? It's
Occasional.
occasional. It's like once every I don't know, like 2 months for like 90 seconds.
I don't know. Our Discord the other day was quite a mess.
My God.
When we were talking
I
about
showed you Shrek is Love, Shrek is Life parody of instead of Shrek there was Trump, and you went on a rampage. And he gave me a small loan of $1 million. Oh, and I could not fit all that money in my wallet.
Anyway,
his money.
let's keep
H-Bomber
your wallets
guy
intact,
did
kids.
he did a great job. Like, round of applause for him. Fucking good ass shit. Talking about good ass shit. It's time to listen to people's good ass games. Pitches.
If you would like to
Bitches for
regularly
bitches.
listen to the Dad and Sons podcast so that you can occasionally hear moments where I occasionally get to go on a political nugget once every 2 or 3 months in a very reasonable amount, then please listen every week for your ideas that may or may not show up. Where do you send those ideas, you ask? Well,
dadandsonspodcast@gmail.com.
that's the correct answer to that question that I had just proposed. dadandsonspodcast@gmail.com.
If you'd like to talk politics with George so we don't have to, dadandsonspodcast@gmail.com.
Whoa. Oh, I don't want to read that.
No, we don't have to read that, Matt.
Oh.
Preface it with the topic line, for George.
Okay.
And only I will, I don't know. I feel like they might
Send
lay
me and
eyes
Matt
on
pictures
it,
of
but I'll
cats.
be the only one
Yes.
who will read it.
Fat
Other
cats.
than that, send
Yes, fat
funny
cats.
videos, send cute animals, send requests for questions and topics,
Send anything.
For George from fellow Trump supporter.
and also send in submissions for. I'll tell you the story about the rally after the podcast. Anyways,
Oh, God. The
send
rally.
in. It's a story. It's a story.
Did you see any Native Americans recently, George? Were you in the area?
No, I have this is a story a little older than that, but still equally shameful. Anyways, send in even your imaginary game ideas for games that don't exist for a segment called Dad Den, in which we will be riffing on the classic television show Dragon's Den, also called Shark Tank, in which audience members pitch a idea to us, a panel of very professional, very intimidating
Quote, experts.
investors. Yes, we are investors. I wouldn't say even investors. I would say leaders and ideologues.
Enthusiasts.
Far past enthusiasts. We're game changers, my friends.
We're gonna use my Japanese friend's money to make this a reality.
Moneybags, Miyamoto.
So we have veritable fortunes sourced to us that we are going to spend on some young, plucky, upstart entrepreneurs who send in their game ideas to dadandsonspodcast@gmail.com. First
Just send
up,
us anything. We reply. We're good.
First up is an idea from Jun. And Jun says, "Hello, fathers, sons, and the holy podcast." So this concept goes as follows. You play as a spry sound lad living in a small industrial town. Each day, it is your goal to go out in the world and accumulate cash via odd jobs given to you by many colorful characters throughout the world. At the end of a given day, you return home and rest, money being deducted from your wallet for things like booze and cigarettes.
What if you don't smoke?
I can relate. Anyways, let me continue. At the end of one in-game month, you are forced to pay for rent. Each day you return to a dark apartment and a splash screen appears showing your end-of-the-day deductions for the money you've brought in. As game progresses, wealthier individuals begin to move into the town you're inhabiting, and thus the area begins to become gentrified. Your rent begins to increase, and finding jobs becomes more difficult until you're eventually forced out of your home and onto the streets. From there, you need to accumulate cash to buy a train ticket to up and skip town. The game would play similar to titles like Tulip on the PS2 with hints of Papers, Please mixed in. Most of the game's meat would be on the shoulders of your interactions with the people you encounter around the game and their varying crazy personalities. Odd jobs could range from delivering packages, flipping burgers, moving crates, etc. The story would progress on a daily basis, each day lasting about 15 to 20 minutes, in-game months lasting around 7 in-game days. After that month is up, something in the town will change, such as older residents being gone, new shops, or season changes, like the snow. The game story would last a few in-game years.
Wait, you go out every day, though? That's like 600 different days.
Now I'm starting to think of like a Stardew Valley type kind of thing, but there's a few words here I could have omitted. Art style. Visually, the game would draw most heavily from animated works like David O'Reilly's short The External World, being animated in 3D with semi-cell shading and utilizing a top-down perspective for the majority of the game, perhaps sometimes changing camera angles during important sequences. In terms of the work's tone, it would strike a balance between the absurdity of games like Animal Crossing and Tulip, but with the visual surrealism used in much of David Lynch's work or games like Killer 7, finding fun and unique ways to play with the medium and no perspective being used. Maybe they meant to type in new perspectives being used, making it look more interesting. Further inspiration coming from Mason Lindroth's new game, Hylix 2.
Mason Lindroth's new game, Hylix 2.
Mason Linded, like the chocolate. Budget. For team size, I'd say maybe 10 to 15 people and a budget of $4 million. A development time about 4 years, I would imagine, to be fair.
It sounds interesting. Like, it depends what... Like he said, going out and doing different odd jobs. But like, if you're going out every day and you want it to be like an accumulative amount of years, that's a lot of fucking different gameplay systems you have to make, and they all have to be interesting, or at least semi-interesting, spread over a period of time. That's a lot of shit to do.
Yes. A bunch of different mini games. Like, am I gonna be able to go out and do a hostess club? Like,
yeah. I imagine that's what it's gonna be like.
Yeah, you got like the hostess club mini games. You got the like cooking school mini games. And then you got the like keep your cool while walking around the apartment mini games. You know, the stuff people do to make money.
Basically.
And I think this is kind of lacking in specific game ideas. Like, they have a very specific schedule thought up, but I'm worried that the town, like, it seems kind of like a town simulator game, but even then, town simulator games, as much as I like to call them,
it is a town simulator. It is kind of like a...
Yes, but they do have something else going for them. Like I mean, Majora's Mask is like a little Clock Tower town simulator game, but it's got combat and puzzles and adventures. And I would look into Cart Life. Cart Life is a RPG Maker game, Adventure Maker game that has you doing business management, but you live the very intimate personal life of people whose lives are realistic and dull and not magical and exciting. And they have interesting neighbors with interesting problems, and they also suffer from poverty and addiction. And you still have a core mechanic backing you up, though, and that's the business management side of the equation, the conflict that keeps you going.
I feel, as Matt said, like the loop is there. Like, you have your daily tasks that you have to do. It's just how many of those tasks are going to repeat themselves. Is it going to be like going to a job where you, I can papers, please?
They didn't mention how the actual job gameplay would play. I'm wondering if it's supposed to be...
It says accumulative cash via odd jobs, so I imagine you don't go to the same job. You do different shit, like maybe you talk to somebody and then you deliver a letter and then you get money for it, or something like that, but there's no actual...
So
no
it's
actual
like
game
artsy
yet.
Animal Crossing. Artsy Crossing.
Yeah, and I mean, the art styles are extremely vivid. Obviously, David Lynch's work in Hylix 2, like the Hylix 2's claymation thing is pretty fucking insane. I mean,
Is there
It
romance
could be interesting. There just
options?
needs to be like a game. Like, what are the odd jobs? If that's like he says, odd jobs could range from delivering packages, flipping burgers, and moving crates. But like, that's just 3 things. Like, if you're gonna have like seasonal changes and stuff like that, and you're gonna go every day. Like it says you go every day because then you go home and then parts of your cash are taken out for like booze and cigarettes.
It reads
Unless it works on like 1 day a week.
like a system, like a feature, rather than the whole game.
Yeah, so more like it's 1 day out of the week. Like it'd be like Tuesday, the 12th of January, and then the next one would be like Thursday, the 24th of January, or something like that, where it like skips a week. So then it keeps the world moving and changing because you'll have the seasonal changes, but it's not getting bogged down to you have to do 300 and plus days before you experience like a year change. And in that time, you have to get the player to do odd jobs 300 different times without either repeating too many times or at least keeping it interesting. Would be incredibly difficult. Whereas if you do like 1 day a week, so you're like, yes, your cumulative budget for cigarettes and booze for the week is $50 to $100, blah, blah, blah. But, you only do it 50 times in a year, and the players get to see seasonal changes, and they also get to, see the rent coming out more often, and, like, seeing big negotiable differences for the stuff they're doing would make a lot more sense.
And I guess it's important to distinguish the difference between how cute and wholesome and fun a town in a video game can feel, and also be able to be aware if you're, like, getting that feeling because of the town itself.
I feel like this would be like a kind of a
activity.
seedy looking town.
Contextualizing
Small
it.
industrial town, but like the characters you interact with are probably pretty seedy.
Yeah, which can
It sounds
still
like it.
be like a fun drive for, like, and a lot
Tulip
of
is interesting because in Tulip you don't really do anything. Just walk
and
around
I'm
a small
wondering,
Japanese
like,
town.
Like, what basis for comparison we have here? Because, like, does an Elder Scrolls game count where you have, like, a player-driven town in Fallout 4 that the player builds that needs resources coming in from the rest of the world that grows and evolves like that? Or is it Terry Town, like from Breath of the Wild, where you just pour money into it and people show up? What is the game? What's the frame?
The game is there. The game is there. Like, you're missing the point because I don't think you know what Tulip is.
I've seen a little bit of Tulip. It's like walking around talking to people, like Shenmue.
Yeah, it makes sense. Like the game is
adventure game.
Tulip is similar to stuff like Animal Crossing and that kind of thing. So the game is there. Like it's just about keeping it fresh. Like the odd jobs that you do, which is the interactivity of it and talking to people around the town, has to be interesting and fresh. The game is there.
I'm feeling a little reluctant with my funny money here.
I've been looking at the Hilux 2 trailer. This thing looks really weird and cool.
It is weird, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
It is like all claymation and really kind of spacey.
Are you guys feeling a little more generous than me?
Well, he made a good joke. Father, sons, and a holy podcast. I think he deserves a halfie right there. How much do we have in the budget, Liam? From
I don't know.
Moneybags,
$4 million
Miyamoto.
for 4 years is
Too much for
10 to
Moneybags?
15 people. That's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money.
It's
Spending $1 million a year, I mean, if it's cheap, if it's in a cheap location, if it's in Akron, Ohio.
Well, our job is to fund, not to give free money. Okay? Okay.
very
We need
hard
return
job.
on
there has
investment.
to be an investment. I feel like there's a game here that would be interesting.
I still need to think about it. I'm
Yeah.
Well, you
feeling
can
a
mull
little
over it while we
leery.
talk about Addison's game.
Addison M. submits a horror narrative set from the perspective of a household dog named Rosie. The plot would be based around some cataclysmic event that disrupts human society, but with major details being withheld from the player since you are a dog and you cannot understand the complexities of what is happening. All text and speech will be distorted and unrecognizable, with plot details being given through the environment and story events. The color palette of the characters and environments will fit within the realm of a dog's actual vision as well. At some point early in the story, Rosie's family will be taken away by the government for unknown reasons, and the main character will have to venture on a dark odyssey to find them. A lot of the early horror in the game will be based around machinery and the nihilism of modern human life from an animal's perspective, while later scenes will focus more on the nature of the cataclysm with elements of Japanese horror, I almost said humor, like Junji Ito mixed in with some Lovecraft. The enemies and environments... the enemies and environments of the later game will be twisted and surreal, with reality seeming to fall apart as the story keeps progressing. Unlike earlier sections of the game, the final areas and enemies will go outside the color palette of what a dog can usually see to differentiate them and give them an otherworldly feel. We're aiming to have a level of polish around Hellblade, Shinwa's Sacrifice, Senua's? Shinoa's?
No.
Shania Twain.
Hellblade, Shania Twain's Sacrifice. But with more of a focus on art style and animation and graphical fidelity. I'm looking for a budget of $4 million with a team of 15 developers. Much of the early focus
same as the last one.
Maybe... Yeah, 10, 15 people up there, and then they say 15 people down here. What a freaking coinky-dink. Much of the early focus of the team will be on animation and design of the main canine protagonists, so the player will feel more attached to them. This will hopefully make the horror more intense in the game as well.
I am sold.
I like it. I'm sold too. That's a cool fucking idea for a game.
Okay.
See what a dog's vision is.
There isn't much about like what you'd be doing as the dog. I imagine exploring a kind of amnesia, like with the insane meter.
So now I'm wondering, like
limbo and
they talk about the visual style of the environment very much, but not so much about the dog. So I'm wondering how anthropomorphized our dog hero or heroine.
I imagine the game will be built around being at a dog's level.
Oh, so maybe it'll be in first person then, because
I imagine it will be in first person because it says the dog within the realm of a dog's actual vision.
I'm imagining like how
a dog sees.
Terrifying and jovial it would be to like pilot a realistically animated cute little like I Pyrenees, just an adorable little lovely puffball into dangerous situations in video games, and there's places you could go with that concept.
Dog's vision is pretty garbage. Like, it's not going to be an interesting looking.
Don't they mostly see like blue, yellow, and gray? So
yeah.
Let's see, dog vision. Google image search.
I
see what
put
happens.
it in Discord.
Matt already found it.
Yeah.
Well, I kind of like that because it's kind of like it starts off kind of like grayscale-ish with like tinges of yellow. Kind of looks like you're looking through a piss filter.
Yeah, they just...
and then it moves into the realms of surreal and everything becomes more colorful and weird, like otherworldly. That would be cool.
So it starts out as Fallout 3 and ends as like, I don't know, something full of colors in life, like Witcher 3.
Right.
Anyways, but like, okay, if you Google image search for dog vision, it looks like a lot of Fallout 3 filter. It's like muted and brown and blurry.
Yeah, but if starting the game out like that to then reveal these otherworldly creatures that break beyond that barrier, it sounds like a cool idea.
Okay, third person or first person control, we're good either way. What else do we have to think about? Okay, what about UI noises? What happens when you're like sorting through your menus? Can we hear like little barks and paws when we press buttons on the controller?
Would it be like...
Yeah.
yeah.
Was that a flute? What the hell was that?
Oh my god, yeah. What if there are UI noises that are beyond the human realm of possibility? So you could just like hammer on a menu that makes your dog go crazy?
When it goes to quit, it's like
playing with a dog in the room.
bark. Are you sure you want to quit?
Maybe there can be like a gameplay mechanic involved with that at some point. Like maybe it scores you. I don't know, like 5 out of 5.
Can there be a part where like it's like a organ, but you know, like a horn organ, and the dog has to like bite the different parts of the horn organ.
The dog has to translate inaudibly high-pitched Morse code to you, your human companion, to pass the gates at the end of level 4.
What is
I'm
it, boy?
sold.
Down the well? Timmy's stuck down the well?
I'm sold on Addison M's horrific dog adventure.
I'm still on the quit thing. Like, if he says, "Are you sure you want to quit?" and there's like a doggy treat, so are you sure you want to quit, or do you want to get the treat?
Sure you
like
want to
a
get
good boy.
you want to keep going. You
Like
get
a
more
good
doggy
boy.
tricks. Good boy. Good boy.
You want
As long
to
as it
treat.
calls you a good boy. Like,
Yeah,
every
you
time
say
do something,
no and it's
like
good boy.
Yeah, the scoring system. That's what I was looking for. Like maybe there
Like
could
a
be
rank,
a way
ranking.
where
Like
where
the highest
like,
is good boy.
the screen can go black and it can just be like,
No,
look
no,
at your
just
good
every-
boy to know how many
just-
good boys
just-
you are. And
No. Just every ranking is good boy. Like, it doesn't matter what you do. Just whether you did it at a fast time or a good time. It just says, good boy.
Oh shit, dude, guys, you laugh, but Duck Game went and did it. Duck Game apparently has a really complicated rating system inside the source code in the back end, but because of a hilarious glitch, the announcer just usually passive aggressively says that you did only okay.
That sounds like Landon.
Yes. Okay,
Landon's
I think,
moving to Japan. Anyway, that's irrelevant.
but we like it. It sounds like we like it. We're talking and stuff.
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sold on it.
Addison M, you get Dog Game money.
Make it.
Addison also mentioned that she's a daughter, so I don't know if this is the first the dad son daughter submission, but
I think.
keep them coming.
So.
She
We
said
had some weird
we
names
probably have
though,
more
that were like
daughters.
screen names, so we might not know.
She also mentioned we probably have more daughters than we think. So, and I probably believe that. Hello, thank you, daughters.
Why are you
thank
listening
you.
to us?
Thank you, the daughter Addison. It feels weird. Is it?
Sounds like we are like a little cult like at this moment in time.
Yeah.
Thank you, daughter Addison.
Thank you for bringing your dog here.
Your weekly donation, your tithing to the cause.
Now time to sacrifice the dog to the dad son gods.
Sorry, son June. We gave Addison
I think my 4 mil
the
is going to
doggy
go to
treat.
the dog horror.
$4 million.
Will the dog be harmed?
No dogs are ever harmed in the making of these Dad and Sons podcasts.
Good.
$4 million. Our son June is going to be very upset that we gave daughter Addison $4 million and he gets nothing.
It really.
Moneybags Miyamoto.